Have you ever thought about why you can watch YouTube at 3 in the morning on a Tuesday? Like, you're scrolling through videos at an ungodly hour, and everything just works. The videos load instantly, Netflix streams perfectly, your Instagram feed refreshes. But here's what nobody tells you. The internet never sleeps because it's not one thing. It's millions of computers spread across every time zone on Earth. And there's always someone, somewhere demanding content right now. Everyone talks about the internet like it's this single entity, but it's actually more like a never-ending relay race where thousands of servers are constantly handing off tasks to each other. Once you understand why the internet can't ever go dark, you'll realize it's less like a library and more like a city that literally cannot shut down. In the next 15 minutes, you're going to understand exactly why the internet operates 24/7 and what keeps it running. And trust me, it's way more fascinating than you think. Here's what's really happening every single day. You're lying in bed at 2 in the morning, can't sleep, so you pull out your phone and start watching TikTok or scrolling Twitter or binge watching some show on Netflix. Everything loads perfectly. No delays, no comeback during business hours message. It just works. And you probably never even question it. So you assume the internet is just always on, like electricity or running water. It's infrastructure. It's there when you need it. But that's not what actually happens. What really happens is that thousands of companies are spending millions of dollars every single day to make sure their servers never stop, their data centers never close, and their systems can handle traffic from anywhere on Earth at any time of day or night. Think about it this way. When you watch a video on YouTube at 3 a.m. Eastern Time, someone in California is watching the same video at midnight, someone in London is watching at 8 in the morning, someone in Tokyo is watching at 5 p.m. The internet can't take a break because there's no moment when everyone on Earth is asleep simultaneously. There's always someone demanding content right now. Here's what most people don't realize. The internet isn't actually always on because of technology, it's always on because of economics. Companies like Netflix and Google and Amazon lose money every second their services are down. If Netflix goes offline for even 5 minutes during prime time, they lose millions in subscription value and customer trust. So they've built systems that literally cannot fail, even if individual parts break. The internet never sleeps because sleep would be catastrophically expensive. And this matters because you're interacting with one of the most complex human-made systems in history, and you probably think about it less than you think about your microwave. The internet staying online 24/7 requires more coordination, more backup systems, and more redundancy than anything humans have ever built. It's not magic, it's thousands of engineers working around the clock to make sure you can watch cat videos at any hour without ever wondering how that's possible. So here's how the internet actually stays awake forever. And I'm going to explain this so clearly you'll understand why it's genuinely impressive. The internet isn't a single thing. It's millions of computers called servers, all connected to each other through cables and wireless connections. When you load a website, you're not accessing some central internet headquarters. You're sending a request from your device to a specific server somewhere in the world, and that server sends back the data you asked for. It's like making a phone call. You dial a number and someone on the other end picks up. But here's where it gets interesting. Big companies don't just have one server. They have thousands. Netflix has data centers, massive warehouses full of servers in cities all across America and around the world. When you stream Stranger Things, you're not connecting to some Netflix headquarters in California. You're connecting to the nearest Netflix server, which might be in your own city or state. That's why your video loads instantly. The data doesn't have to travel far. This is what I call the geography game. The internet works by being everywhere at once. Instead of centralizing everything in one location, companies spread their servers across the planet. This way, no matter where you are or what time it is, there's a server nearby ready to serve you. It's like how Starbucks doesn't have one massive coffee shop in Seattle that serves the whole country. They put a Starbucks on every corner, so there's always one near you. Same strategy. This matters because distance and time zones become irrelevant. When it's 3 a.m. in New York and you're watching YouTube, you're hitting a server in New York or New Jersey. When someone in Los Angeles watches YouTube at midnight their time, they're hitting a server on the West Coast. The servers are geographically distributed, so someone's always in a convenient time zone. The internet never sleeps because it spans all the time zones simultaneously. Your brain doesn't naturally think in distributed systems because for most of human history, things existed in one place. The library was in town. The store was down the street. If it closed, you waited until it opened again. But the internet doesn't follow those rules. It's not in one place, it's everywhere. And being everywhere means it's always open somewhere, which means it's effectively always open everywhere. Now, this next pattern is particularly sneaky because it happens behind the scenes where you never see it. Servers break all the time, hard drives fail, power goes out, entire data centers occasionally go offline. But you never notice because of something called redundancy. This is what I call the backup's backup strategy. When you watch a video on Netflix, that video file exists on dozens of different servers across multiple data centers. If one server dies, your video stream automatically switches to a different server without you even noticing. There's no buffering, no error message. The system just routes around the problem like water flowing around a rock in a stream. You keep watching without interruption. Think of it like having 5 alarm clocks set for the same time. If one fails to go off, the other 4 still wake you up. Companies build massive redundancy into their systems so that no single point of failure can bring everything down. It's expensive, you're essentially buying and maintaining equipment you hope you never need to use, but it's the only way to guarantee 24/7 uptime. And if you think that's wild, check this out. The internet is designed so that data can take multiple paths to reach you. When you load a web page, your request might travel through 20 different routers and switches on its way to the server. If one of those routers breaks, the internet automatically reroutes your request through a different path. It's like if you're driving to Target and you hit traffic, so you take a side street, the destination stays the same, but the route changes. This is built into the fundamental design of the internet. Back in the 1960s, the US military wanted a communication system that could survive a nuclear attack. If bombs destroyed half the network, the other half needed to keep working. So they designed a system where there's no single point of control. Messages get chopped into packets and sent through whatever path is available. If a path is blocked, the packets take a different route. This military design became the foundation for the entire internet. This connects to something even deeper about how modern infrastructure actually works. See, we think of services as either on or off. The store is open or closed, the restaurant is serving or it's not. But the internet exists in a fundamentally different state. It's not on, it's distributed and redundant. Turning it off would require simultaneously destroying millions of servers across hundreds of countries. It's not that the internet never sleeps. It's that the internet can't sleep without a coordinated global shutdown. But here's where things get really interesting. The internet doesn't just stay awake on its own. It requires constant human maintenance. This is what I call the invisible night shift. Right now, while you're watching this, there are thousands of engineers and technicians working overnight shifts at data centers around the world. They're monitoring server performance, replacing failed hard drives, updating software, and fixing problems before users ever notice them. These data centers are staffed 24/7. There's always someone watching the systems, ready to respond if something goes wrong. It's like how hospitals never close, someone always needs to be there. When a server fails at 4 in the morning, a technician physically goes to that server, pulls out the broken hard drive, and replaces it with a new one. This happens constantly, invisibly, while you sleep. And here's the uncomfortable truth that nobody wants to admit. The internet never sleeps because money never sleeps. Amazon makes billions from people shopping at all hours. Netflix makes money from people binge watching shows at 2 a.m. Google serves ads to insomniacs scrolling their phones. Turning off the internet, even for maintenance, means losing money. So companies don't do it. They build systems that can be maintained and upgraded without ever shutting down. What's actually happening is this: the internet runs on capitalism. Every second of uptime is profitable, every second of downtime is costly. So companies have financial incentive to build absurdly reliable systems that never fail. This isn't about serving humanity. It's about maximizing revenue by being available to customers every single second of every single day. The internet stays awake because sleep is unprofitable. This isn't about whether that's good or bad. It's about understanding that the always-on internet is a business decision, not a technical necessity. We could design systems that shut down for maintenance. Other countries do. Some government websites only operate during business hours. But American companies realized they could make more money by never closing, so they built the infrastructure to support that. Let me tell you about two people who experienced the always-on internet very differently. Let's talk about Priya. Priya runs a small e-commerce business selling handmade jewelry. She built her website herself using a cheap hosting service that costs her like $15 a month. Everything works fine during the day. But Priya keeps noticing something weird. She loses sales at random times, usually late at night or early morning. Priya checks her analytics and sees that her website was completely offline for 3 hours at 2 a.m. Then offline again the next night for an hour. Her hosting service does maintenance during off-peak hours, and they just shut down servers to do it. Priya's losing customers in Australia and Europe who are shopping during their daytime, which is nighttime in America. She's frustrated because she thought the internet was always on, but her site clearly isn't. Here's what Priya doesn't realize. Her cheap hosting service doesn't have redundancy. When they need to update servers, they just shut them down. There's no backup system to keep sites running during maintenance. Priya's paying for an always-on internet connection, but she's not paying for always-on hosting. She's learning the hard way that the internet staying awake requires expensive infrastructure she didn't invest in. Now compare that to Daniel. Daniel also runs an online business, a subscription software service, but Daniel understands something Priya didn't. Daniel pays for premium hosting through Amazon Web Services. It costs him $500 a month instead of $15. But AWS has massive redundancy. If one server fails, Daniel's service automatically fails over to backup servers. His site literally never goes down. Customers in Tokyo can access it at noon their time. Customers in London can access it at midnight. It just always works. Daniel also set up monitoring systems that alert him if anything goes wrong. He's got automated systems that scale up server capacity when traffic spikes. When his service got featured on a major blog and traffic jumped from 100 users to 10,000 users in an hour, the servers automatically spun up more capacity to handle it. No downtime, no crashes, just seamless scaling. Notice how both of them are running online businesses, but only one of them truly understands what it takes to stay online. Priya thought the internet being always on meant her website would be too. Daniel understood that the always on internet requires paying for redundancy, monitoring, and infrastructure that can handle failures gracefully. Here's what most people don't realize about all of this. It's not actually about the internet being magical or automatic. It's about thousands of companies investing billions of dollars in infrastructure because staying online is more profitable than closing. The people who successfully run online businesses don't have better luck. They understand that reliability costs money, and that cost is the price of participating in a 24/7 global market. It's not about being a tech genius or having special knowledge. It's about understanding the system. Once you see the internet as a distributed network of servers that require constant maintenance and redundancy, instead of seeing it as a magical always-on utility, everything changes. You start understanding why some services never go down while others crash constantly. You start realizing that uptime is expensive and deliberate, not automatic. So here's what we've uncovered. The internet never sleeps because it's spread across every time zone with redundant servers and constant human maintenance. Remember how data centers span the globe so someone's always in a convenient time zone? Plus how redundancy means failures get routed around automatically? Plus how engineers work night shifts keeping everything running? This all connects to the fact that the internet stays awake because sleep would cost companies too much money. The question isn't whether the internet will always be there when you need it. The question is whether you'll recognize the massive infrastructure that makes that possible. Because now you know the internet never sleeps because thousands of people are working right now to keep it awake. You can't unknow it. So next time you're scrolling Instagram at 4 in the morning, ask yourself, how many servers and engineers and backup systems are working right now just so I can see this meme? Because once you see the internet as a massively coordinated global infrastructure instead of magic, everything looks different. And that might be the most valuable thing you learn all week.